Hey there, and welcome to this edition of the Styles Cast. Returning guest today, joining me, Mr. Charlie Moore, the president and CEO of the McLean County Chamber of Commerce, and appreciate him coming on board. And tomorrow, a big day here locally. Not only that tomorrow, but today's a big day. Happy Election Day to everybody. I see you got your I voted sticker. You went out and did the voting today. Thank you for doing
that,
sir. Appreciate that. Tomorrow, a big day. Here we are 7 months later, and it's kind of like deja vu in the fact that mitigation's coming down. A lot of places being affected, and it's all in the name of health and safety. But of course, if you read the comments in social media, not everyone's happy about what's happening tomorrow, and a lot of places are being affected. So from the chamber's perspective and the folks you've been talking to, what has been the general reaction to the mitigations that are coming down tomorrow?
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly people aren't happy, right? And understandably so. If you rewind back to the March, April timeframe when we got our lockdown and the orders issued the first time, and went through that time where everyone stayed home and offices closed and businesses closed. And, I think this is unfortunately kind of the rinse, wash, and repeat feel of we've done this before and we still feel the side effects of what happened then. And so now if you do this to me again, if this has to happen again, what's that mean for my business? What's that mean for my employees? What's that mean for my suppliers? And what's that mean for my customers? Right. And so it's not just like it's a one prong approach as to there's one group of people that are going to be hurt by this. Right. There's a lot of folks that are going to feel the pain. Right. And we get that. And, I'll tell you that, I've probably been in dozens of conversations since Friday afternoon when we saw the numbers go the direction that they were and saw this coming. And so, what is it that we can do, to help our businesses continue to be successful, to get through this, right? And understand what their rights are or their opportunities are. And so those have been the kind of conversations we've been engaged in the last couple of days.
And the mitigations that are coming down, and I'll put it up here on the screen as well, because there are, the biggest one I think that's going to be affected are the bars and restaurants.
For sure.
Of no indoor dining, bars in service, no indoor service just in general. So what are you seeing from your members that are in those categories at this point?
So again, there's a lot of conversations, and I think anyone who's listening to this has probably heard a lot of these conversations, and so I don't think there's going to be a newsflash on this. But again, people aren't just frustrated; they're angry, right? And I think everyone's unhappy about something right now, and that's just the way 2020 has been with us, with all the challenges that we've been faced with. And so I think we look at, what do they do? And we've all heard that there are businesses who are choosing not to be in compliance with the mitigations, businesses who are still trying to decide whether they want to, go against the mitigations or not. And so I think, our biggest comment or conversation back to our members is that, we want you to make sure that you understand the risks that you're doing when you do that you've seen, you sought your consult, whether it's be your attorney or whoever, but also understand, we would ask people to, take a look at, be mindful of what's been put out there by the IDPH as well as McLean County Health Department, and just understand that they go in completely knowing what those risks could look like or the rewards would look like for whatever action that they choose. And so that's really what we want to do, is just make sure that they're armed with having an understanding of what that looks like and where they can go for those types of resources. But the other thing is just taking a look at if they're licensed businesses, that they take a look at who authors or issues those licenses, that they understand what potential risks could be involved if they choose not to go along with the mitigations as well. So again, just trying to make sure that we go in with our eyes wide open, and that people are at least alert and aware of what that looks like going forward.
And we've heard that Governor Pritzker said that potentially, if you don't follow along with the mitigations, that you could see your liquor license removed. We've talked about, at least in terms of the region and here in the county of McLean County, and looking at least Bloomington's Mayor Renner, talking with Heart of Illinois, saying other than informing the health department or urging people to practice safe distancing and to make sure as much as possible that we don't spread COVID, we're not enforcing the state rules or regulations. So it's technically up to the individual business at this point, whether or not, as you just mentioned there, if they want to comply or not.
Hey, I can tell you that I've been involved with multiple conversations with our elected leaders over the last day or two. Everyone gets it. everyone understands the damage that this can do for a small business, especially the restaurant, a bar, or organizations that rely on gathering, right, as for their business practice as well, because that's part of it with that bringing down the number of people that can be in any particular place at any particular time. And so, there's definitely a great sympathy and empathy to understand what that looks like. And I can tell you that, we want to do what we can, and you showed the information there from WEEK, from the interviews that they've done, and Mayor Coos put out a statement yesterday, and Mayor Renner had his statement online there. Everyone understands that there are big hurdles with these mitigations, and so how we can ease them to the best of our ability is, I think, in all of our best interest.
Absolutely. What would be some words that you would like to say to potential consumers of those businesses that are members of the McLean County Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah. So, so you have the business, right? But then you have their employees. And I mentioned earlier, then you have their service providers, and then you have their customers. So there are 4 different, I guess, groups, if you will, per each one of these. And so there's a lot, right? So it's a challenging time. And so a lot of it's up to people's personal thought processes. I know we all know that this got highly politicized as to what you will or won't do as far as your own personal accountability. And so I've been saying this for months. And so whether or not you agree with wearing a mask or watching your distance or washing your hands, we started the Community Confident campaign, which we still wholeheartedly believe and endorse and push, and encourage people to look at community-confident.com. And I think we talked about it the last time I was on your show just a bit. But really, it going back to where we were in March and April and what we had to do and start looking at the numbers and how we were to get businesses back open. If those are the things we have to do in order to keep businesses open, in order to allow people to go back to work and to stay in work, in order to keep, things flowing, dollars flowing locally in our economy, then I would just ask people to take their own personal accountability and to thought and do what they have to do in order to keep our businesses open. And again, whether or not someone is interested to comply or not comply, that's their own decision that they can do, as long as they know, what that looks like. The other thing that we've been told is that if someone chooses not to comply, that they might not or would not be eligible for the big grants from the state of Illinois going forward, because those dollars are still being awarded throughout the state at this point in time. So, those. Just again, you have to keep all those things in mind. But as a consumer, we have to still figure out how we can continue to support these businesses. And so you go back to the March, April timeframe with the curbside carryout and pickup and gift cards and all those things too, right? And so you can still do outdoor dining, although this is a great week for it. Next week might be different,
Yes.
And so how do we get creative in supporting, again, to making sure that we're keeping our own health and safety in mind, but those that we surround ourselves with, health and safety in mind, but also at the same time making cognitive decisions to choose to support local businesses. I don't care, big or small, restaurant, retail, or anything in between. Right now, we're entering a very volatile time of year. So Black Friday and Small Business Saturday are not just taglines, right? Those are there for a reason. And so that's the time of year where we see businesses who can actually stop and get out of the red and get into the black ink, right? And with holidays coming up in our stores, if we were to, God forbid, hit tier 2 going forward and what this looks like, and we have to be mindful that those local purchases keep your neighbors employed, keep dollars going to your nonprofit organizations that are providing crucial services to us, and philanthropy as well, and then sponsorships. So that's where a lot of those are coming from our local businesses, large and small, right? So it's just, keep in mind, how can you still find a way to continue to support these businesses, understanding what the mitigations are, keeping health and safety top of mind, and ensuring that we can do all we can to keep our businesses open, people employed, and our students here, right? Our students here with Illinois State and Illinois Wesleyan, Heartland, a lot of those folks are local already, but those are all the things that are in my mind and in our mind at the Chamber every day, because that's of the utmost importance to us.
Absolutely. As you mentioned there, with the holiday season right around the corner, a lot of shopping to be done. A lot of folks could be doing their shopping online. So think about the local stores that have the ability to do some type of e-commerce. Go ahead.
A lot of local stores have actually made that transition over this last year. People who weren't doing online sales now are at a local level. And so you want to keep in mind, where you choose to do your purchasing at. A lot of places who maybe 6 to 9 months ago weren't offering online sales now are. And so again, as we all reimagine how we do business, right? And take a look at how we can continue to put our products out there, offer our services, make sure that, when you have an idea of what you're looking for, to do that search, visit the chamber's website and look at the member directory. Look at line and say who's local that offers that product that you're looking for before you think about going to, large internet purchasing opportunities, or even, traveling somewhere else. If you want to do your shopping, there's just a lot of options right here in your own backyard that truly, now more than ever, really do need local support to use those local dollars here, because the phrases "we're all in it together" is really overutilized, and uncharted waters and all those other phrases. But as we move into the holiday season, and which is typically time for doing our shopping, it is something to really keep in mind, because your purchases really do make a difference, whether that's at a restaurant and a bar, or whether that's at a retail shop or wherever. Again, large, small, it doesn't matter. Local is what matters.
Yep. And as you see here on the screen, the directory, that again, it's McLeanchamber.org. To see the directory, it's right up here in the top corner, to go ahead and click and get to it, so you can see all of the great members that you can shop here locally in McLean County, to give your dollars locally and keep those folks employed that we've been talking about here, as the mitigations take place here tomorrow in Region 2, which is where we're at right now. As far as the chamber itself in conducting business under these mitigations, what is changing for you here as these mitigations take place?
So, right now, currently, we have pivoted to pretty much everything online. We actually had an event scheduled for Thursday night, which was our 20 under 40, and it was going to be a small reception. Unfortunately, our our reception will now be virtual. We'll still be putting out there on Facebook Live the production, as far as just recognizing all of our recipients for the amazing work. And that's the challenging thing, is that, a lot of these in-person events and programming that you typically, may or may not think of. This is one, for example, that people have done outstanding efforting for the benefit of our community. And so we want to continue to make sure to lift them up and let people recognize and know that, especially the 20 under 40, as we have up and coming leaders and community leaders and people driving successful initiatives in our community, the great things that they're doing. And so we'll still put that out on Facebook, because we want anyone to see it. Hopefully our recipients have watch parties and can have people, cheering them on and engaging with them in conversation virtually. So everything that we're doing is virtual now. That was kind of our last in-person event for the year. And so since that won't happen again, right now we're really taking a look at 2021 and watching how this goes, to make sure that, as we convene, because that's what we do, when we convene people, that we're doing it, at a safe way, keeping everyone health and safety top of mind, and doing it respectfully for everyone who would be involved. So yeah, right now that's how we pivoted. In fact, we actually changed the name of our virtual online program to Pivot, which is, I believe, people interacting virtually online together. So that's our definition of pivot. And so again, trying to create those collaborative opportunities and ability to connect online, because I think Zooming, while that's tiring for people now, right? They've done it enough. That we still want to provide opportunities in a unique and interesting way, so they can still connect and still think about who's local that I should consider buying from, who's local that can make that connection for me, that I have that resource to the product or the person or the program that I'm looking for in order to help my business. And so that's how we've continued to make changes for our programming, for our membership, and for the community.
That is fantastic to know. And again, it's McLeanchamber.org, and you can go ahead and check it out there. Excuse me, McLean CO Chamber. Sorry, I apologize for that, but McLeanchamber.org. You see right here on the screen. That's the member directory that we're looking at. Again, for those watching that are thinking about doing some purchasing for the holiday season, gift wise, go out there and check out a local business. That is definitely something you want to do, and to help those during the mitigation time. Anything else you want to touch on as we wrap up here?
I would just say that as we continue to go through these times, anyone that's a business or just has questions about, needing resources, whether it's COVID related, or access to capital, or dollars available for the business to get them through until the springtime, or human resources and employment. I mean, there's a lot of different things that people need right now. And so use us. That's why we're here. Our business is to be here to be that resource for our business owners, to make sure that they have the information that they're looking for. And if we don't have it, to get you to the people that do have it, because, as a business, we truly appreciate their investment of having that business open in Bloomington-Normal and throughout McLean County. And so our goal, if they're successful, we're all successful. And their investment really is valued. And we want to make sure they have those resources available that they need to get their questions answered, and to stay open as we move through this COVID-19 challenge together.
Yep. And again, as we mentioned here at the top of the show, it's like deja vu all over again with the mitigations coming down. So please be safe out there and take the precautions, and make sure you check out those local businesses here in the area. Charlie Moore, thank you again so much for the time today. President and CEO of the McLean County Chamber of Commerce, McLeancochamber.org for everything you need to know. Thank you again so much, sir.
Thanks, Wes.